You really don't know what God's going to do in your life. You never know. You never know what God is going to do. Um, he has plans for us. And you and I don't fully know what those plans are. We might have ideas of what those plans are. We might think that we know what God is doing. But man, then out of nowhere, what happens is God opens up a door for you. He gives you an opportunity, and then you have the choice to say, yes, I'll go, I'll step into that door of opportunity, or no, because of all the reasons why you can't do it. You're insecure. How am I going to pay for it? I'm not smart enough. I'm not strong enough. Who am I? Pick somebody else. There's somebody out there, who's smarter than me, stronger than me, richer than me, better for the job than I am. But see, God handpicks people for certain positions. There's a man in the Bible named Gideon, and Gideon was called by God to be a judge and a ruler for Israel. And God told Gideon, he came to him and said, Gideon, you mighty man of valor, right? Another version says, you mighty warrior. And Gideon's like, who am I? Who am I, God, that you are calling me? I'm the weakest in my tribe. He was afraid. He was living in fear of the enemy. He had low self-esteem. He thought very low of himself. And he thought, who am I for this job? Why would you call me, God? And then Gideon's like, Lord, if this is really you, you got to show me. You got to prove it, right? And that's a typical response we have. And I think to a certain degree, God is okay with that. But ultimately, he does want us to obey him and trust him when he comes to us. But I think to a certain point, it's fine to say, God, confirm somehow. But we don't want to take that too far where now we're, just living in this total unbelief and need all these confirmations when we already know, right? But Gideon needed some confirmation. And so God gave him that. God gave him what he needed to see to prove that this was the Lord calling Gideon, a mighty warrior, to rise up, to step into this door of opportunity, Gideon, that I've given to you. It's not for somebody else, right? Just like us, we can be like, no, God, this door of opportunity is too great for me. Who am I, right? But God's like, no, I've handpicked you for the job. And so when God presents an opportunity, our job is to believe and trust God with feelings of fear, feelings of uncertainty, feelings of weakness, feelings of inadequacy. And that's where I find myself. I find myself there in my life. I can relate with Gideon. I feel that God has given me a call. And I'm sure that you probably feel in your life that you have some sort of call from God as well, some sort of gifting that you want to use for God. However that looks, it's different for all of us. And so in my life, it started 5 years ago, and I'll explain. 5 years ago, I was working my full-time job, married, 2 kids, and also in church pastoral ministry. And so I was really busy. And 5 years ago was right in COVID time. You might have heard of that, COVID. And I was working this one day in July of 2020. And I came home from work and I was so tired. I was so frustrated. I was so discouraged. I was so heavy. I felt like Gideon, just feeling like, who am I and what's going on? And that kind of thing. And I thought to myself that very night when I came home feeling that way, just feeling overwhelmed and just worn right down, I had this thought come into my mind. I'm like, if I, as a man who loves Jesus, who's trying to follow God and do things God's way, if I feel this way, I can't be the only man on this earth, right, who feels that way. There has to be other men who are Christian men, lovers of Jesus, people that love God, truly love the Lord. There has to be other Christian men who are really struggling, who are really feeling the same way that I'm feeling tonight, that particular night in July of 2020. And then in the next couple of days, I had this thought, and I know it was from God, to start a podcast for Christian men. And now there, even at that time, 5 years ago, there was hundreds of podcasts targeted to Christian men, and many of them were succeeding well and doing the job, right? So why me? Like, why start another one, right? There's already enough of them. There's already 1,000 Christian men podcasts. Why would I start another one? You know, Matt Knoll from Ontario, Canada. But I couldn't shake that feeling. So I dusted off my old laptop that I barely used, that barely worked. I found an old podcast microphone that my dad gave me years prior and plugged it in, watched some YouTube videos to figure out how to do it. And I just started recording the best I can my podcast, the Frontline Podcast for Christian Men. And that was just over 5 years ago now. And since I started that, when I first started it, I'm like, what am I doing? But I up until this day, I've never come to the point where God's done with it. I've never come to that point where that season's over. If anything, right now, 5 years in, I feel like I'm just really getting started in this whole Frontline Man ministry. Saying all that, I started recording podcasts, and you might think they are good if you're a listener, but when I listen, I'm like, wow, that was really bad. But people have been encouraged by them, and so as I would post, each episode, I keep posting, and eventually I started getting emails from men all over the world, right? Like an email from Australia, an email from Europe, emails from the States of guys who thank you for the podcast. Thank you. I just found great encouragement and relatability to this certain episode, and I just thank you for the podcast, for your willingness to record and share your thoughts and share the Bible and do what you do. And I'm just like, immediately I was like, oh my goodness, like I remember the first one, like somebody actually emailed. That's crazy. And it was, of course, a real motivation for me to keep going, and a confirmation that God was in this and God was using this in my weakness. God's strength is made perfect, and He's using what I'm willing to offer Him. And that's a little side note too. Just give God whatever you have and let Him use it however He wants to. I mean, that's all you can do. That's all I can do, is just offer what you have and say, God, do with it as you want. So that was 5 years ago, and I got more and more connections. I've made a lot of connections with a lot of guys all over the world. And I actually just a few months ago was able to meet one of them from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia. I was able to meet him. He was working here in Canada where I live. And in fact, today I will meet another one. Just today, in a couple hours from the time of this recording, I will meet at first it was a podcast listener from Texas. And I'm going to meet him today. And the reason why is because he's become my friend. And today he's picking me up because I'm at a hotel in Texas. I just flew here yesterday from Canada. And the reason why is because a different podcast listener, not Justin, my friend, the one who's picking me up here shortly, but another podcast listener back in April. So like 6-7 months ago, I got a random email. I remember I was in my kitchen making coffee, and an email came through. I looked on my phone, and it was another gentleman just saying, thank you for the podcast. I enjoy it. Thank you. And then as I read it, he extended an invitation to come to Texas to be the guest speaker at their church men's retreat. And when I first saw it there, I'm like immediately, who am I? Why me? There's other people that are better than me. Why don't they find them, especially in Texas? I mean, isn't Texas known to be like Christian mayhem, or I don't know what you call it, Christians all over the place. There's churches everywhere. Like, surely you can find someone closer. But see, God opened a door. And when God is in it, you need to just trust him and walk into that open door. So after I got off the floor, that I was actually invited to be a speaker at a men's retreat, I called my wife immediately, and she was excited, and we prayed about it. And immediately I'm like, yeah, thank you. That's what an honor it is for you to invite me. So that was 6-7 months ago. And so here I am. This is the Friday, the 9th of October. This is the start of the weekend. So I arrived in Texas yesterday, and that was the first time flying in 21 years. Oh yeah, so that's the reason why. So I'm at my hotel now in Texas. So Justin's gonna come pick me up, and he's also going to the men's retreat. So we're gonna meet for the first time, have lunch, and then we're gonna drive out together to the men's retreat. So yeah, so that's what happened. So that was my first time flying in 21 years, and it was quite an experience. And I would be lying to say I didn't have a little bit of butterflies in my stomach, but um, not a lot. I was prayed up and ready to go. I prepared myself in prayer and seeking God for what he wants to do this weekend for the men. And I'm trusting the Lord. And, here I am, God, send me, I'll go, right? Like, and so this is the longest I'll be away from my wife and my kids. Thank the Lord for FaceTime. I enjoy doing video calls. And this morning, my wife and I had a video call, and we prayed together, and she prayed for me. What a blessing that is. And yeah, the flight was good. Both flights, I had to fly from Toronto to Chicago, and then Chicago to Dallas. And the only sketchy part of it was, man, the shuttle driver who picked me and other guests up at the airport rather, to take me to the hotel. He like the van was rattling all over. I couldn't get my seatbelt working. There was no room. I had to like put my bags in front of me on my feet. My feet were like up towards my chin. My knees were at my chin because they're on the bags. It's nighttime. There's cars everywhere, of course, Dallas airport. And he is just in this van. He's cruising and getting bumper to bumper. And I'm like, Lord God, I'm praying. I'm texting my wife. This guy's crazy. This driver's crazy. She's like, why are you telling me that? So by the grace of God, I arrived last night, and I'm not going to lie, I was pretty grumpy when I got here last night. My head was pounding. I wasn't able to eat supper. Thank the Lord, I brought some beef jerky with me and some Crispers. So that was my supper last night. I was tired. So I came, checked in here, called my wife, let her know I'm here safely. Had a decent sleep last night, and here I am the morning of. And so I just thought I'd share my heart with you and just to encourage you that when God opens up a door to you, you may have questions, you may have insecurities, you may have feelings like, God, why me? Who am I? Listen, I know what that's like. I do. I'm here alone in a country I've never been, in a state I've never been, meeting men I've never met before. I don't know these men, but I have such peace right now, such excitement right now, such expectation from God that because God opened this door, that's why I got here safely on all my traveling. Because God opened this door, that's why I can go tonight and preach my first message tonight and meet brand new men in a brand new place, new people. I can go there expecting God to bless it because God's opened up this door. He's asked me to step into it. He extended this invitation through this church here in Texas. So I'm grateful. I'm humbled. I'm trusting the Lord. I'm excited at what God's going to do in the hearts of men, in my heart, in my life. It's crazy to me. I'm wearing shorts and a t-shirt here, and back in Ontario, Canada, my wife said it was like -3 degrees Celsius last night. They had the heat on. So that's all new to me as well. This is all completely new to me. And so when you do something new, you're going to have emotions. It's going to be hard. Got a bit of a headache this morning still, I think just because of everything. It's just, there's that pressure and stress and feelings, but I'm all prayed up and ready to go. So when God opens up a door for you, listen, step in, say, Lord, I will trust you. I don't know much of the answers. I don't know how it's going to unfold, but I'm stepping in because you've opened up this door, and I'm going to trust you for the results that you want to bring, Lord.